Hey Fae folk, welcome back. So for today's video, I want to just commiserate a little bit about doll thrifting. Now, I do feel like that sounds sort of bad, so hear me out. I feel like I constantly see people posting online who have just like so much thrift luck, or they're just very, very dedicated and they go like consistently. That's also a thing. But I feel like I see so many posts online of people who just find incredible deals or incredible, like quote unquote, rare dolls, like harder to find dolls, or dolls that have a much higher secondhand expense, or like dolls that are in remarkably good condition for how old they are. Like I see posts all the time of amazing thrift finds. And I do want to be super clear. This is not me like hating on posts like that. I actually really do like them. They sort of give me hope and give me energy to like go thrifting and go looking for those things. And it's really exciting to get to see other people be super happy about their finds. Like that's so wholesome. And I do love it. But I also do feel like sometimes the like perception on the internet, it's sort of like influencers. Like you see all these influencers who have these expensive bags and they're always going on vacation and it's like this, that, and the other. And you sit there and you're like, oh, what am I doing wrong? Right. And the reality is that their life isn't actually perfect. It's just that's what you're seeing online because that's what they're choosing to post. And God, I'm getting like weird and serious. This is not that serious of a video. I just wanted to do a video talking about thrift fails so that we can also feel less alone, because obviously I think it is wonderful to celebrate the good thrift finds, but I also think that it's like healthy to have a space in which you can be like, man, I didn't have that. Or like, I had this bad experience thrifting. And other people can be like, yeah, you're not alone. Me too. It's okay. We're going to go out and try again. You know, like I just want this to not be a complainy video. Like that's not the goal. The goal isn't to be like, oh, woe is me. I never find anything good. Cause like, that's not the case. It's fine. It's more just like, I don't know. I feel like because of the prevalence of positive thrifting posts, it can feel almost like isolating if you just like have really bad luck or if you have a really bad experience with thrifting dolls. So I just wanted to make a video about different bad thrift stories so that we can all feel a little bit less alone and we can all know that there's going to be good days and bad days, but it's still worth it to go out there and look and have fun with this particular part of the doll collecting hobby. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, though, I have a couple of my own fails to share, and I did ask you guys on the community tab here to share your stories of thrifting or secondhand buying gone wrong. So I'm going to be reading out some of those today. Thank you to everyone who responded. I'm not going to do every single comment because like that would be kind of a lot, but I do appreciate all of you who did answer. So to kick off the video, we're going to like bookend it with my experiences. So the first one, I did like talk about this semi recently. What video was that? I don't even remember. Like, I don't even remember what video it is, but there is a local toy store. I say local, it's like semi-local to me, but I do go out there quite frequently to just check and see what sort of dolls they might have in stock. And one day I went and they had Flashback Fever Fiona, who I love. I think she's so pretty. It was the Grails video. That was when I talked about this. I love that doll so much. She was listed for like, or listed, oh my God, it was a physical store. She was priced at about $250. I think it was $250 exactly, but it was like in that range. And I did not have the money at that moment. Like I just simply did not. 250 is a large purchase for me. Like that's the sort of thing I'd have to save up for and like be very conscious of. I can't just walk into a store and spend $250. So I didn't have the money for her. And so I didn't buy her because I was being responsible. And then the next time I came back, someone else has snapped her up, which makes sense. She's gorgeous. And like as expensive as that is, she could be a lot worse. So that is my first thrift fail. Not like anything horrific. It was really just like a situation of I didn't have the money at the time. So unfortunately, I missed out on this really cool doll. It sucks. It happens. A lot of you guys have experienced it as well. We're going to get into it because we're starting with your stories now. So to just jump right on into it, the first comment says, a while back when I was first getting dolls to build up a little stock for customizing, I bought this doll lot on eBay thinking it would be totally fine that one of them was one of those ghoul to girl Draculoras. Turns out it is not, in fact, easy to just yank those wings out, so now she sits in the bottom of my doll bag with holes in her back and a partially removed wing moving mechanism. That's rough. I feel like when you're buying dolls for customizing specifically, there's often a lower threshold of like the quality that you'll accept, because doesn't matter if the doll's nude, because if you're making your own outfit, who cares? Or it doesn't matter if the face has a little mark or a scuff on it or really wonky eyes, because if you're going to repaint it, it doesn't matter. So customizing dolls, you can thrift dolls with like lower quality maybe, and it'll still suit you perfectly fine. You can spend less. Like that's so nice. But yeah, this is hard because it's one of those things that you wouldn't know until you try. Like you're not going to know that it's hard to yank a doll's wings out until you have the doll in hand and you're trying to do it. That's rough. I hope that one day you can figure out how to remove those so that you can customize that Draculaura, because I know that Draculaura is like a very, very popular base for customizers. So like that would be super to get to have her. I don't even have any suggestions because I've never seen the doll in person. So like I don't know how the mechanism works. But if anybody does have any suggestions on how this person can remove that, leave it in the comments down below. Cause yeah, that sucks when you buy a doll and you're like, oh, I have this cool idea for it, or like I want to be able to like have this ready in case an idea strikes me, and then you just can't. I'm sorry. Next up, this person said, I don't know if this counts, but when I was kind of young, there was a thrift/antique store across the street from a friend's house. I'd go over sometimes and they always had tons of Monster High and Bratz dolls. I didn't really care for them much at the time because they had small flaws like missing accessories or a couple marks. Years later, I'd go back and I snatched up everything I could find. I definitely missed out though, but I am grateful for the dolls I still managed to get. That's so rough. I feel like I do that constantly where I kick my younger self for not being interested in things. Like I am currently in the process of watching the Ever After High media so that I can like do videos about it and everything. And I've already said this several times just because even though I haven't seen the media before, I have looked at a bunch of Ever After High dolls now as an adult. And I'm just like, I wish I was into that when they were first coming out because I would have bought so many of these dolls, but I just like didn't care for them. And so I missed out. So this person is clearly having a sort of similar experience. I feel like this is very common. Our interests naturally do change as we grow and evolve and our collecting habits and everything. And so I feel like it's very common's the only word I can think of, but I do feel like it's a very common occurrence for people to regret the things that they could have bought and didn't bought when they were younger just because they weren't into it. So high key sucks. I feel you, but you're not alone. Miss Reese has joined us for this next one. Hi, sweetie baby. So the next comment was, not really a fail, but more than often I accidentally buy doubles even though I have a complete inventory of my collections with pictures. I guess I just have a terrible memory. You know what? Like, I can definitely understand where that's frustrating. Like, I'm absolutely not trying to invalidate you, but on the bright side, I feel like it's so much better to accidentally end up with doubles that you can then like customize or give away or sell or whatever the case may be than to like miss out on a doll. So again, I'm not trying to be like, you're not allowed to be upset about this. I can definitely understand why it would be frustrating to consistently accidentally spend money on things that you already have. But at least there's like kind of a bright side. This one hurts. This one hurts. And I also have a similar story, funnily enough, that I like didn't even think about until I read this comment. This person says, I was at a doll show and witnessed somebody buy one of my grails, the Elvira Collector, in front of me and leave the booth. That hurts my soul so badly. It reminds me of the one time that I went to a doll show and like we were pretty far up in line. Like we weren't the first people in line, but we were like decently early to get in there. And it didn't even matter. I walked in and I spotted a table full of Monster High dolls, just like so many Monster High dolls. And someone dead ass walked up who had like gotten in faster than me and Tony had, and they bought the entire table. The entire table. They were just like immediately packing it into bins right at the start of the doll show. But yeah, especially for a grail, because like I didn't even see really exactly what dolls were there. Like I didn't know for sure if there were any that I was like willing to pay or what the prices were or anything like that. So like mine sucked, but seeing a grail go in front of, I'm so sorry. That one just hurts. Like I I can offer nothing but empathy. Can we just take a break for I love her purrs. She's so loud when she purrs. And our other cat, Alice, is like, you have to be like resting your head on her to hear her purr. It's just so cute. Anyway, next up we have, well, it's just finding dolls here at all. I live in a small town with only 2 thrift shops. One never gets any dolls. The other one rarely does. I've seen some of the old unattractive porcelain dolls, and last year I found a few okay dolls, but that was a miracle. In 9 years of living here, I've rarely seen dolls. I'm so sorry. I also feel like this might be the most common sort of quote unquote thrift fail, is just not having anything to thrift from. I feel like I have a decent amount of secondhand stores in my area, but at least when I go, it feels like they very rarely end up having dolls, or if they do, they're like in very, very poor condition. So yeah, it's so hard. But this one I definitely feel like you're not alone on. Like I feel like so many people can absolutely relate to just not finding dolls point blank period in their area. I'm so sorry. It's tough out there. Oh, little miss, you are having such a good petting, aren't you? You're getting fur all over my shirt, but that's okay. Oh, yes, good girl. Sorry, I just love her. Alrighty, so next up we have a few years back, I was looking around online for a specific B-Goths figure and ordered the cheapest one I could still find in box, or I could find still in box, sorry. It cost me about $50, but when the figure arrived, there was a $5 Goodwill sticker on the bottom of its box. This one, I read this comment and I felt like I got sucker punched. I'm so sorry to this person. That is diabolical behavior. Like, obviously, I'm not a big fan of people who specifically resell for the purpose of making money. Like, it's obviously one thing if you just like have something in your collection that you don't want anymore and you decide to sell it. Like, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But like buying something from Goodwill for $5 to then upcharge 10 times the price, diabolical. I'm so sorry. This one says, paid $60 for a secondhand rainbow high Brianna from an ex-friend, but they never mentioned they cut her hair and clothes, plus she was covered in grime. I'm very glad that you specified ex-friend. Goodbye, Reese. She was so mad she had to walk away. That's like genuinely horrible behavior. So like, I am sorry that happened to you. I'm glad that that person is no longer your friend and like that's not what you're being surrounded with. I hope your current friends are significantly kinder to you because that's insane. Like I would never do that to a stranger, let alone to my friend. That's so mean. I'm really sorry. Like that's all I got. I'm really sorry. Next up, I saw 3 dolls in a thrift store, Wave 1 Draculaura, Dawn of the Dance Laguna, and Dance Class Operetta. I bought them and I was really excited. They had mold on some of their clothes and hair. I have no idea how I didn't notice before buying. Y'all know. Y'all know my heart hurts so bad for this person. Specifically, Dawn of the Dance Laguna. Y'all know I love that doll to an ungodly degree. That is just so gut wrenching to like buy dolls and then realize that they have something as bad as mold on them. Like, it's not fun if you buy a doll and you find like dirt or something like that, but mold, I'm so sorry. And this is like a weirdly common occurrence, apparently. Like, you'll see from here on out, there are going to be a lot of people who mention that they found mold on their dolls. And I'm just like, this is bad. Like, I can't believe people have the audacity to sell or donate dolls that are moldy. Maybe they don't know. I mean, if they're selling it, they have to know. But maybe if it's donated, they don't know. Like, I have to believe that because, like, living in a world where people just willingly distribute moldy dolls, horrible. I'm really sorry you had to experience that. So this is another one where it's like a funds issue. Once I've seen a bundle of Monster High, Winx Club, and Barbie dolls, all which seemed in good condition, but sadly didn't have the money at the moment with me. That, ouching. Ouching. That's all I got. Like, again, something I've experienced for sure. This is the second comment we've got like surrounding this sort of thing. So very common problem where you just don't have the money on hand at the time, but that doesn't make it hurt any less. And my sympathy definitely goes out to this person, especially like a bundle like that. Like, it's bad enough with one doll, but when it's like several, ooh. Next up, this one actually made me so sad. So there was a new in-box Mermaid Alina, but she was high on a shelf and I would have had to go find an employee to ask. And I was with my family and felt kind of embarrassed and nervous. I like genuinely, my heart goes out to you. I'm so, so sorry about this. Like, first of all, that's an incredible find, a new in-box Mermaid Alina. Like, that's a gorgeous, beautiful, amazing doll. But I totally understand feeling embarrassed. I have really, really terrible social anxiety, which like some people think it's funny that I get on camera and I don't know how to like talk to people in real life. But it just feels different. I don't know why. It just feels different. But like in person, I would rather walk out of a store empty-handed than have to ask an employee for literally anything. I can't do it. The only case in which I will do so is if my husband is with me and he kindly forces me. I don't want that to sound bad. It's not like he's being an asshole, but like he forces me to go ask for help because I will drive home. Like I will not do it. So I completely understand where this person is coming from, especially if you're like with your family. And I don't know anything about your situation, so I don't mean to presume, but it just kind of sounds like if you're embarrassed to ask around your family, maybe they are not 100% supportive of the doll collecting. Again, I could be completely wrong. So like, I'm not trying to put words in this person's mouth, but it is so much harder when you are like with people who might not be as supportive or who might not know. Maybe you're like with friends and they don't know that you're a doll collector or something like that. It's just one of those things where unfortunately in the society that we live in, buying things like dolls that are seen as more childish is immediately looked down upon by a lot of people. And so I absolutely understand why this person would feel embarrassed, A, to ask for help, period, because again, anxiety, but then also that added embarrassment of being with people that you don't feel comfortable asking in front of. That is so heartbreaking and so sad. And like, I hope you just understand I know that loss of like the doll is very hard, but like you are not alone. I totally get the anxiety and the embarrassment, and like you're not the only one who's experienced that. So it sucks. I am really sorry, but like I promise you, so many people go through it. I get it.
Hello, editing me here. I truly hate that we live in the timeline where I have to make this editing note, but I realized while talking about that last comment that I used the phrase, my heart goes out to you, or like something similar. And I feel like I probably either have already said it at this point in the video or I'm going to say it again. I just need to be really clear that I'm not referencing anything. I'm trying to not like get in trouble. I don't know what you're allowed to say or what you're not in the current climate. Super, super hate it here. But I'm not referencing a certain quote unquote Roman salute excuse, if you know what I mean. I'm literally just saying that because I'm trying to be genuine. But like now, unfortunately, we live at the point where I heard that and immediately thought about that, and I was like, I need to clarify, I don't mean it in that way. I don't mean it like as some sort of dog whistle or anything. Like I dead ass was just trying to be nice. So sorry, I'm really going to try to take that out of my lexicon. Again, unfortunately, I feel like I should be allowed to say something like that without it potentially being bad. But again, we live in the bad timeline. So my apologies if you heard that and like got a little bit spooked. Again, I think I might say it later on in the video, but like it's genuine. It's not weird. I will try to say it less.
Remember when I said we were going to have more mold stories? Yeah. This one says, I ordered a Holy Grail Bratz doll from my childhood on eBay, the Sasha with the wavy hair from, I believe, the Style It 2002 line, and I thought she was decently priced and put together. She arrived just absolutely smelling of black mold and smoke. It was in her head/hair, and I don't have the confidence to do head swaps, so I could have tried cleaning her up. I think they meant to say couldn't, sorry. I gave up because my partner is severely allergic to mold, and I ended up parting ways with her to my dismay. I haven't tried getting a new one since. Oh, mold again. Why with the mold? Why are people selling dolls? Come here, baby. You can come back. Why are people selling dolls in such abysmal condition? Like, that's so sad. And this is what I mean. Like, it is one thing if it's like donated and maybe the person just like grabbed a bunch of toys and like put them in the donate bin and didn't realize, like, they didn't look through. You should be examining things if you're going to donate them to make sure that they're safe. But like, I could see where that would be an act of ignorance. But ordering it online, there's no way that you like take pictures of this doll. Reese, you're being so loud. I'm trying to rant. I love you. Come here. But there's no way that you take pictures of this doll and pack the doll up, ship the doll out, like without realizing that it's moldy. Like that is truly just a bad thing to do. And especially with your partner being super allergic. Tony also is actually very, very allergic to mold, which was part of the reason it was like so freaky to get mold in the basement. Like, I totally understand why you were just like, I can't do this. Like, I don't feel comfortable trying to solve this problem. That's just really high key sucks. And I'm sorry that people are doing this online. That's crazy. This one hurts, not gonna lie. My local secondhand store had an LED for €4, but I left her there not wanting to spend more money that day as I'd already splurged. Regretted it, went back the next day, and she was no longer there. Oh, oh, that's so bad because that's such a good deal. Like, €4. That's such a good deal. But I understand like trying to be responsible and being like, oh, I've already spent money. Like, I don't want to spend any more, even if it's not that much. Like, good on you for trying to be responsible. But like, I know that had to hurt when you go back the next day. There have been a couple times, I don't think it's been with dolls, but there have been a couple times where I've had that with clothing pieces at the thrift store where I'm like, oh, I just don't know if this is like worth the price, or, oh, I want to get these things more, so I'm not going to get this. And then you're like, what was I thinking? Like, I obviously should go do this. And then it's not there. I'm sorry. That's a hard one. It's kind of just like nothing you can do. Next up, this says, my husband got me the 2001 Let's Camp Barbie gift set for Christmas this last year. I've wanted it for years, but the moment I opened the box, I was hit with the strong, nauseating odor of mildew. I worked for hours scrubbing those dolls and their accessories down and used both OxyClean and vinegar to try to kill any nasty stuff and get rid of the odor. Even after all that, Barbie still has a slight smell. So happy to have them, but so sad that the previous owner stored them so poorly. Again with like mold and mildew. That is wild. I am glad in the sense that this definitely feels maybe less malicious and more of like an accident, because if it was still in box and you didn't like realize until the box is opened. At least it doesn't feel like someone is being evil on the internet and shipping out mold, because genuinely that's like a crazy thing to do. But I know that still absolutely, absolutely sucks. I have been very, very lucky in that I've never like found mold on my dolls, knock on wood, where there's no wood here. Ah, sorry. But like I've never had that experience. So I don't have any tips, but if anyone does have tips, because apparently finding mold on your secondhand dolls is like a weirdly huge problem. If you have tips on how to clean that out safely, please drop them in the comments down below, because it like high key sucks that that's something that so many people are experiencing. I was going to say this is another bad one, is that they're not all bad. Anyway, I once bought a secondhand G1 Abby Abominable online as a gift for a friend. I was so excited to give it, but the seller had neglected to show that Abby had turned entirely yellow. Yes, yellow. I'm guessing it was the glue and glitter coating on Abby's body yellowing so bad on the entire back half of her body from sun damage. The listing had only showed her from the front, where she looked totally normal. By the time I unpacked her from the bubble wrap and saw the damage, it was too late to buy a better replacement for my friend. This one is so, I think the reason this one like is more gutting to me is because it was for a friend. Like, you're trying to do something nice and this is what happens. That just like, that hurts so, so, so bad. And that's so wrong on the seller's part. It is a like decently common thing with G1 dolls to have like glue seepage, especially in the head. I guess maybe like on the back, like you said, could be involved in like sun damage or something, or it could be like from the hair, like going down the back. But like the glue leaking out of dolls from G1 that have lighter skin tones, especially, very much can yellow the plastic of the doll. So it's like a common problem, but that should 10,000% be disclosed. Like, there are people who will buy it anyway for customizing purposes, or who like want to try to fix it up. But you should be telling people that if you're selling dolls online. That should have absolutely been disclosed in listing. I'm very, very sorry that this happened to you. And especially again, because it was a gift. That one hurted. I'm sorry. Okay, this one, like, I know I keep saying this. This one's bad though. This is like actually a little vomit inducing. So be forewarned, I suppose. I bought a lot of Monster High dolls off of Facebook Marketplace. My sister and I picked them up, took them home, and realized they had a particular smell which wasn't described. Upon further inspection, we guessed it was rat piss from being kept in a garage or attic. Anyway, I spent multiple days soaking them in bleach, vinegar, OxyClean, anything I could think of. Plus, I had to deal with glue seepage on top of it all. It was a nightmare. That's fucking nasty. Like, I mold like has like a certain thing to me, because again, my husband is very allergic, so like I'm very aware of that, and like having had experiences with mold in the house, it's like I feel like I'm sensitive to mold. Like, people bring it up and I'm like, oh my god, mold, not mold, but rat piss. That's nasty. That's just nasty. It's like better in the sense that I feel like it's not something that spreads like mold could, but like that is genuinely just so fucking gross. I'm so sorry that you had to do that. It sounds like you were able to maybe clean them up. You didn't mention that you weren't able to. So I'm hoping that this has a happy ending, but like you should not have had to do that. Baby girl, you are screaming. It's okay, little one. Yeah, you should not have had to do that. That's genuinely bonkers. I'm not a huge fan of Facebook Marketplace. Apparently, it's at least somewhat merited. I didn't realize that was it, but apparently that was it. So, like I said, we are bookending the video. I mentioned my first thrift fail. This one is significantly worse. This one has been kind of eating me alive, not gonna lie, especially lately, because as I mentioned, I've been watching the Ever After High, like shows and specials and movies and stuff. So one time, this was years ago at this point. I don't remember what year exactly, but I had like just gotten back into dolls after a long hiatus. So I was really like mainly collecting Rainbow High at the time, with a couple of Barbies or Monster High dolls here or there, because that was like, it was definitely before G3 had like come out. Like, I think we knew G3 was coming back, but it wasn't like out yet. And so I wasn't necessarily as well versed in dolls as I am now. I was very much still in like the bubble of I only know about a few select things. And like, I still am not an expert, okay? I still don't know the most about dolls and brands and everything like that, just because my brain can't hold all the information. But this was before all that, and that is important to the story. So I was in my Goodwill, which again, usually is populated by like chewed upon Barbies and not something that I would want to purchase. But this time, there was a doll who was dressed, which was actually what drew me into the doll in the first place. So I was like, oh my God, this one's not naked. That's incredible. And now I know that it was the Throne Coming Cupid doll. Throne Coming Cupid. She wasn't complete, to be fair. She had the dress for sure. Like, it was her actual doll, like with the pink hair and everything. Like, I know it was a Cupid doll. I don't know for sure it was the Throne Coming Cupid, but I know it was a Cupid doll from Ever After High. I can't remember if she had the wings. I don't remember if she had wings or if those were gone. I'm not 100% certain because, again, this was years ago. She didn't have shoes, though, or any like accessories or anything like that. So very much incomplete, but like also very much a Throne Coming Cupid. And I looked at her, and because I didn't know what she was and I hadn't discovered that Ever After High was actually fun and cool at that point in time, I was like, I don't know. Like, I guess I could reuse this dress for something. Already an insane thing to say now, knowing what I know now. And then I was like, no, I'm not going to buy her if I don't have any like active plans for her. Like, if I don't actively want her as she is, or I don't want to customize her in some way, I'm not going to get her. And so I didn't buy Throne Coming Cupid. And now, you know who I want? Throne Coming Cupid. Like, now I'm like, oh, I would absolutely buy that doll and then like go and try to find her accessories also online. And I'm just like kicking younger me for finding that doll at the wrong time and not knowing anything about her and not realizing that I would want her years later. So that's my other thrift fail. But yeah, that's all we're sharing today. I do hope this video served its purpose. Like, I know this was sort of a more negative video, but like, it's really genuinely kind of interesting. It's super sad, actually, but it's kind of interesting how many of the stories are so similar. Like, something just not being disclosed in an online listing, lots of mold problems, or like I'm talking about a lot, like just not having the money at the time. So I hope this video was able to serve the purpose of showing you that like these are very common, unfortunately, problems that people have when thrifting dolls or buying dolls secondhand. And like, it high key sucks. It is a terrible feeling to have to go through to realize that you've missed out on the doll, or you couldn't buy a doll, or your doll arrived ruined essentially with mold or pee. That's so bad. Like, ugh. But it does happen to so many different people. So like, hopefully it can at least make you feel less alone. It is not the case that every other person in the world is having like incredible thrifting luck and you're just out there having a hard time. It's rough out there sometimes. And again, while I think it's really, really cool to post thrift like wins, I also think it's kind of nice to be like, ah, yes, everyone has a sucky time thrifting sometimes. So hopefully this video like resonated in some way in that way. I wouldn't say it's fun because we're talking about sad stories. But yeah, like hopefully you guys were able to get something out of this video, whether that's entertainment or commiseration or just like feeling less lonely, whatever the case might be. Definitely feel free to leave any more thrift fails in the comments, or I know like I was talking about mold removal and stuff like that. Feel free to answer those things in the comments down below as well. But that's going to be it for me for today, guys. I do hope that you have a lovely rest of your day or your night or whatever it might be, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.